and welcome to Perspectives, where we'll take a deep dive into the issues of the day and where we'll take a look at people's opinion on such issues and begin to engage our celebrity guests, including Chris Enioluwa, Inibehe, and our dear prof in the house, David Awora.
First off is Chris Oziofu Ekwafe Oro. Chris is the founder and lead facilitator of the Wellness Boss Company. She survived a 2-year bout with amnesia and moved on to helping people build better relationships with stress. Chris, you're welcome to Perspectives today.
Thank you for having me.
That's right. Okay. So let's start with you, Chris.
Yeah.
Why are victims unable to expose their perpetrators? What measures, what has fueled this fear and instilled this fear in female students that they have not been able to bring the predators to justice?
Well, I think the first thing is what you mentioned, fear. It's fear. And number two, the idea that what is basically the cost for me if I bring it forward? What am I going to get in return? A lot of times they are shut down. A lot of times they are stigmatized for even coming out and saying, this is what has happened to me, right? And there is somewhat like a mafia kind of thing going on in institutions now where you know that you're not just fighting this particular predator, you're fighting an institution. So for a lot of women, it's too much of a burden for them to take. So they go like, hey, I can't deal with this.
What limits them from having the evidence of their grades as compared to allowing someone else say, hey, if you don't do this to me, if you don't do this for me, I would mark you downwards? What if they took an exam and they actually excelled in the exam? Now, they have that evidence.
If they have the evidence, then they can take it forward. But again, as I said...
Shouldn't there always be an evidence?
There should always be evidence. In fact, we've said it now. We've said it over time that always take notes, always record every single conversation, every single interaction that you've had with these people. And you know that you did well in the exam. You have the proof that you did well. Of course, have it. But again, it's not just about knowing that I have proof. It's about knowing that measures are actually going to be taken.
Like if you report,
exactly,
it will definitely take it to the next level.
It's that you should see that efforts are being made, right? So you're not just wasting your time.
Okay. Enioluwa, you, for instance, I mean, my little superstar, everybody knows somebody that has been sexually abused.
Yeah.
Because when I was doing the research for this, everybody, even whether you're 60, whether you're 40, whether you're 50, you have been a victim of sexual harassment one way or the other. And I mean, with the recent Calabar thing that happened, Unical, everyone knows that, the girls were tired of being sexually molested. Now, as a personality and a very strong millennial for your category, what are celebrities like you doing to lend your voice to the oppressed? And what would you like the government to do more in addressing this problem?
Well, I mean, at best we can do is also you have a platform, and so you use your platform to communicate and let people know that this issue does exist, and, lend your voice to people, because when people know that people are backing them, or, they get to have more courage because, okay, there's a voice also there to, support me and also let people be more aware. But I think at the end of the day, it boils down to government and justice because, I went to university as an undergrad, State University, and at the time when I was in university, there was a transition from one governor to another, and Governor Fayemi became the governor of the state, and his wife was very strong on it, and Erelubisi Fayemi. And so at that point, we knew that, there was a downgrade in how many people were affected by that, because she spoke categorically when we had institution programs, and she would say, I would not accept for anybody to come to my office and complain that someone was manipulative to them because of, asking for sex as regards their grades. And so, when people know that there's a back into it, there's more courage to it. And, she spoke to lecturers directly. She wasn't trying to mouth it or just say, and, she had results when people complained.
Maybe other first ladies can learn from that, because you also said that you did, even though you went to a public school for your university, you went to a private university for your master's. Yeah. So tell us the difference, because you said there's a difference.
Yeah, I know the difference is that in a private university, people know and people are fully aware, because when actions have consequences, people avoid them. It's just in private university, if anybody reports, you are fully aware that you'll be suspended, even through the period of them trying to carry out a research, if it's true or not, investigations. And also, if it eventually happens, you would not just be sent out of the university, you will also probably be reported to government, because also people know that parents there would not take it lightly as well, because the university needs to protect their reputation.
Of course, so in other words, one rule for the rich, another rule for the not so rich, basically.
But I mean...
Because they know there'll be a price to pay.
Yes, there'll be a price to pay, but I mean, at the end of the day, that boils down to government, because there shouldn't be any segregation between because this person can afford or not for basic human rights, because that's what makes it human rights.
But speaking of consequences, Chris, how best can students make their complaints known without becoming victims to the lecturers? Because like you said, fear plays a very prominent role. So how best should the administration handle these cases by primarily protecting the interests of the victim?
First of all, you know, it's very interesting, because I think it was in 2016 or so, the Senate wanted to pass a bill, right, to cut down on this sort of situation. ASU actually fought against it. And that
Can you imagine that? But why did they fight against it?
ASU fought against it. So that tells you something. Again, as I said, it's an institutional...
Tell us why. What was their reasons for fighting against it?
It's an institutional thing, right? But it's... You look at what happened in Lagos, University of Lagos. You know, there was this documentary that was done regarding that from BBC, I think.
Yes, Sex for Grades.
Sex for Grades. They even had a place where they take...
Yes, they call it the cold room or something.
So when you have something that is so institutionalized, it takes so much effort, and it actually needs, just as you said, the intervention of the government, where you go like, hey, it doesn't matter what ASU says. This is what it is that we're going to do. This is what has to happen.
So ASU isn't necessarily looking after the rights and the needs of the students if they will fight against something that protects them.
That is how
Maybe they're not taking it as seriously as they should.
Yes, that is how it appears
fight
to be.
against it?
The thing now is that it has become a case of, now so it be now.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So when you voice it out, it's like, I mean, it's almost part of the educational system. And you go through it, and it's a sad development.
Yeah. I also think that people should stop, you know, fighting in sense of from the national level. So, you know, take it to your institution.
Yeah, exactly. I believe that
because when you make it more primary, you know, it's better and it's easier to combat than we're trying to get a regulation from the Senate,
I believe
and it's
so.
take such a long time.
That's why what happened with Unical made so much noise, because they were able to galvanize themselves. The girls came together and said, enough is enough. Until you get up and say, I can't take this anymore. It doesn't matter what the institutions say. Now we have a wider audience. We have a global audience.
And a stronger voice.
You go online, you get your facts out there, and people are willing to support themselves.
That's
absolutely.
Anyway, let me round up with you, Yolua. Do you believe that sexually paid for grades has diluted the value of hard-earned grades and quality of graduates? Because some foreign firms now prefer students who schooled abroad. So do you believe this sex for grades has really impacted negatively in the quality of graduates?
No, at the end of the day, everybody needs to come out of schools with good grades, and you know, everybody should spend time reading their books and studying and ensuring that they get good grades. I would say categorically that sex for grades is bad. We should encourage it in any way. And at the end of the day, you know, when people write examinations, like you said, when people write examinations, they should be sure that they're going to get the full scores for their what they wrote, and not even just for sex for grades. You know, public universities especially, you know, you have cases where lecturers say, oh, I forgot your script somewhere, or you're not even sure if they marked it.
But I even heard that they even hold the scripts, they hold your results.
Yes, people hold your results and say, oh, you just see that.
Can you imagine how frustrating that
yes, and it's very, because I had a particular classmate who went to the lecturer and said, oh, my result is in there, and immediately we went, because she went with the class governor and I was the class governor as well, and so we went together, and immediately he said, oh, so why did all of you come with her? We already knew what was up. Oh, he wants to meet her in particular, and he wants something. And so at that stage we had to, we have to tell our head of department about this. This is worrisome, and I think that's when it can be combated. But at the end of the day, like I say,
but did she get her?
Oh yeah, she got it back, because a state university was very strong and prominent on it.
Well, she's one of the lucky ones, because what about those who?
Yes.
I mean, the girl who did the program, for instance, said she had to quit university out of frustration.
But you know, there are some boys too who are equally affected.
What, the lecturers also sexually?
Not really sexually assaulting them, but when a lecturer notices that a particular boy is close to a particular
Like
girl
how?
he has eyes for.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
Oh,
Yes,
yes.
they do
So
that.
they stamp on you and they actually demand that you let the girl go.
Oh, wow.
As in they
else-
verbally tell you.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
I
my
passed through the
goodness.
system,
Yes.
so I do know.
Yes.
Yeah, they do that.
They
And
do.
talking about workplace and what employees want in terms of graduates, we tend to ignore the fact that there's a ripple effect when it comes to all these things.
Yes,
So when you are
absolutely.
already exposing, because these are children, a lot of the girls in school are in their 17 years, 18, 19, 20. So they are in school to just basically, not just learn academically, but to be exposed to life coping skills, right? But then you have them already learning that you can only get ahead when you sleep with this. So when this person leaves school,
Now we see how it's
is already
happening.
trained that
Trained that
way.
way.
She knows that she only gets good grades when she sleeps with the oga at the top. So she gets
It's already
to
a
work,
standard.
and that is the mindset she has. So it actually limits our potential to work. So you find a lot of inept people, not just inept academically, but inept in terms of resilience, in terms of life coping skills. So you find them at work, they contribute to the toxicity in the workplace.
Right.
Okay, but what about some students who don't even like to study? I mean, come on. With every, like you were saying about apples, with every group, there's always a bad apple. You have some students who just are not interested in going to school, they don't study, they don't attend lectures, they go from one party to the other, and they become academically weak.
Yeah.
What should happen there? If
So they
are
now
weak,
use their bodies in exchange for marks in higher institutions.
that is-
because they know that they can get the marks without putting in the effort. And how dangerous and harmful is this towards the goals in our university system in Nigeria?
For me, at the end of the day, I say the responsibility falls on the person with authority, and people need to discipline themselves. You know, our society has trained men in sort of a way that it's okay to excuse your sexual prowess and all of that. And so, like I say, you can discipline yourself and say no. Like when someone comes to you for sex, it's not necessarily because I should just say yes. You can
Or you can read, study.
And
Like
also,
exactly.
encourage students to study and read. And if people do not pass examinations, that's why school is in place and examinations are in place. You fail, and that's okay. But I say people in authority should take responsibility and say, oh, this is a no-no for me. I do not participate in this. I do not associate. And also, when you let students know that it's a no-no, people are less to do it because, I mean, when your reputation precedes you and everybody knows you would accept, people are most like, well, if everybody knows, our institution does, nobody tries that in private university, of course. Because
of course, they won't try it now.
You probably be in Senate. I mean, there may be cases, but, it's rare.
You both sound very passionate about this topic. So I want to ask, what do you think would emerge from the Uniben protests? Do you think there can be a forceful movement that can actually limit what's going on in our schools today? From my viewpoint, it's a leadership issue. And if we don't get leadership right, we're not going to be able to fix this. But do you think this protest is going to...
I also believe in the power of
What would
leadership.
emerge?
Right?
The power of what?
Leadership.
Okay.
But I also believe in the power of individuality as well.
Absolutely.
Right? We're talking about galvanizing. If you are true to your passion, if you're true to what it is you're fighting for, then even the leadership will be forced to listen. The leadership will be forced to take.
So it depends on how
necessary-
strong
Despite the
voices.
decay in the system,
Yes, it
despite
depends.
them seeing it as a norm.
A lot of times, what we do is we start off, we lose steam and relax.
So we should
we go
gather
back to status
momentum.
quo
Yes.
until somebody else lifts up the flag again, and then we
Yeah.
go, hey, and then boom. So it's all about us
understand.
keeping that momentum.
Yeah, and I
Okay.
think it's easier collectively.
Yes.
When you're one, people are most likely to
yeah.
get, stigmatized and all of that. But collectively, when a group of people come together, even if you're affected or not, and you say, "Oh, I'm going to support the girls in my class because I know of it," and that's again encouraging male students that when it comes to issues like this, these are your classmates, these are your friends, come together and also route for them and say, "Okay, no, this has to stop," and it's
Exactly.
enough. And now social media even makes it easier
Yeah.
because
It's a lot.
not only, even if you do not get, educated by the university, now your name is everywhere. You're a sex offender, your children, your family members know.
Okay,
that
yes.
Even at the end of the day, you might say, get them the embarrassment if they don't get anything
Yes.
at all. Let these people be
Are
embarrassed.
either of you supporting the Uniben protest? Are you lending your voices somehow to
the
magnify the movement?
Yeah, that mine is to repost, retweet, and try and get involved as much as possible in any way that I can to let people know that aware. But I also know in my where I'm from, I also speak categorically to know what is happening. And if students have any complaint, I have access to people in management.
Okay, one last question for the roads. This is to you, Chris. How best can you deal with being pressured to have sex without paying the price with your marks? How best do you think female students now, in moving forward,
the best
should
way,
handle such professors?
The best way is for you to first of all know what you want. Because it gets to a stage.
Yeah, you want to graduate,
yeah,
isn't that obvious?
You want to graduate, right? But at the end of the day, your choice is your choice. Now, if you know the stakes that you have, right, and you choose to go this way, and if you're ready to face the consequence, then go ahead. Because at the end of the day, is it your integrity that counts, or is it for you to graduate? For some, it's their integrity. They really don't care.
Yeah, right? But if they know that they're paying the price with their marks, how best can they handle it? Be able to achieve their results without necessarily sleeping with the man?
I know. I said something about having records. Okay. You have records. You do the needful. You can threaten the predator with facts that, hey, I'll go online. I'll publish this.
That's what I want to hear.
Right? I'll publish this. I'll make you famous, just as he said. You want to be famous, then we'll make you famous. And now people are becoming more scared of social media than anything else.
I think that's what the most powerful
reputation,
tools.
exactly. Yes. You can't say that you have built yourself up to be a professor. And you want to ruin it for what? 2 seconds, 2 minutes? It's silly.
If they last that long.
So you see that, you know, they already have the upper hand. Social media is a great tool if you know how to use it. So if someone can threaten you, threaten the person back, blackmail the person.
Thank you so much.
Especially if you know that you're in the right.
Okay. Thank you so much, my son.
Yes,
looking so smart and handsome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you.
We hope that this would encourage those watching the program this morning and let us know that the fight for justice is very near. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. Lovely to have you both.
Thank you.